July 29th, 2016. Best International Tiger Day ever. I'm so happy that 45 non-government organizations came together with a unified voice today for tigers, and that the U.S. captive tiger situation was right up front and center in the reports by EIA and WWF. See below, as they are epic. I'm thankful that I have the tools to create a hashtag International Tiger Day banner from one of Jamie's amazing photos of TJ the tiger in our vacation rotation enclosure and share it with millions of people on Facebook and Instagram. I'm grateful to NonStop Knight for hosting an in-game voting contest for a charity to win $10,000. I am confident we can win it. World Wildlife Fund roars out against tiger farming. World Wildlife Fund says, tiger farming in Asia must end. U.S. has a role to play. World Wildlife Fund, WWF, is using International Tiger Day to call on governments across Asia to investigate all tiger breeding centers and close any operations involved in the illegal tiger trade. WWF is also calling on the U.S. to do more to address its own large captive tiger population. Closure of operations in Asia linked to illegal tiger trade, commonly referred to as tiger farms, to distinguish them from legitimate zoos or captive breeding facilities established for conservation purposes, would significantly boost efforts to save the world's remaining tigers. According to the Environmental Investigation Agency, EIA, there are more than 200 tiger breeding centers across Asia, ranging in size from tiny to huge. These centers, spread across China, Laos, Vietnam, and Thailand, jointly house between 7,000 and 8,000 captive tigers, far more than the estimated 3,900 tigers left in the wild. Many of these tiger breeding centers, which often include entertainment attractions like Thailand's notorious Tiger Temple, are likely to be involved in the illegal trade of tigers and tiger products, particularly given their incredibly high operating costs. They undermined efforts to protect wild tigers and to halt the illegal trade by complicating enforcement activities and by normalizing and legitimizing the sale of tiger parts and products, which in turn drives up demand. Many tiger range states have devoted considerable resources to conserving their wild tigers, efforts that are undermined by the existence of these farms, said Michael Balzer, leader of WWF's Tigers Alive initiative. Closing tiger farms will help countries to achieve the ambiguous goals of doubling wild tiger numbers by 2022. However, tiger farms cannot be closed overnight, since the fate of the tigers still needs to be resolved, especially as none of them could be released into the wild. International support would be needed to help countries deal with this challenge, including ensuring rigorous oversight of the operations while they are being phased out. The U.S. in particular, with the largest captive population outside of China, has a significant role to play in ensuring captive-bred tigers don't feed the global black market for tiger parts. A patchwork of regulations governing the estimated 5,000 captive tigers in the U.S. makes many of these animals susceptible to exploitation by wildlife traffickers. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service took significant steps in April by tightening loopholes that allowed unregulated interstate trade in captive tigers. But much more can be done, including banning public contact with tigers for photo ops and other profit-seeking ventures that encourage private tiger breeding. Our concern is that when these cats get too large, costly, and dangerous to be profitable, they can be funneled into the illegal trade in tigers and tiger parts, said Lee Hendry, wildlife policy expert at WWF in the U.S. Disincentivizing private tiger breeding will gradually decrease the number of tigers in the U.S. to a more manageable number and make them less vulnerable to illegal trade. Continuing strong U.S. action in our own backyard in support of tiger conservation sends a positive signal to Asian governments considering action around their tiger farms. WWF is part of a big cat coalition that is currently petitioning the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service to pass regulations prohibiting public contact with captive tigers. You can comment on that through August 31st of 2016, then I gave the link. Please tell USDA that cub handling should not be allowed by the public with any species or age of wildcat. Tiger farms will also be discussed at the upcoming conference on the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, in South Africa, including the need to prevent tigers and tiger products entering illegal trade from and through such farms. World Wildlife Fund supports a number of proposals which, if adopted, will ensure much greater regulation and oversight of these operations. Big Cat Rescue will be attending these meetings and will be co-hosting a tiger awareness event along with Judy Mills, author of Blood of the Tiger, EIA, Born Free, and others. It is now estimated that close to 3,900 tigers remain in the wild, up from the previous estimate of as few as 3,200 in 2010, the year in which all tiger range states, partner countries, and organizations committed to work toward the twice the number goal of doubling the number of wild tigers by 2022. And then the following is adapted from a press release by World Wildlife Fund. International Tiger Day, Zero Demand for Zero Poaching. Today is International Tiger Day, and EIA and 44 other non-governmental organizations are raising the alarm of increasing tiger poaching and calling for an end to all tiger farming and tiger trade. Debbie Banks, EIA Tiger Campaign leader, said, "It's fantastic to see organizations from across the world unite in this call to action to end tiger farming. Acting in unison in 2007, we had a major win for tigers when governments agreed that tiger farming should be stopped. But instead of complying with that decision, the governments of China, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam have allowed tiger farming and trade to spiral out of control. All eyes now are on the governments as they prepare for the 17th Conference of the Parties to CITES in Johannesburg at the end of September. It's the perfect opportunity for China, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam to announce real action to end demand for tiger parts and products. How real is their commitment to save the tigers? Today, on International Tiger Day, we, the undersigned 45 non-governmental organizations, are urging countries with tiger farms to adopt urgent action to end tiger breeding for commercial purposes and phase out tiger farms. The global wild tiger population is estimated to be fewer than 4,000. These last remaining wild tigers are each threatened by trade for nearly all of their body parts, from skins and bones to teeth and claws traded by criminals for huge profits. These products are consumed largely as exotic luxury products for demonstrating social status, such as tiger skin rugs for luxury home decor or expensive tiger bone wine. Tiger bone wine is consumed as a traditional medicine. The main market for tiger products are consumers in China and Vietnam, followed by smaller consumer markets in Myanmar and Laos. There are currently two primary sources for trade in tiger parts and products: wild tigers in 10 range countries that are home to the last remaining wild tigers, and captive tigers, largely found in 4 tiger farming countries: China, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. Tiger farming and trade in captive tiger body parts from and through these countries undermines tiger conservation efforts across Asia. Indeed, trade in captive tiger parts and products stimulates demand for tiger products, be it from the wild or captive tigers, and undermines enforcement efforts by making it difficult to know whether seized tiger products came from wild or captive tigers. Tiger farms have expanded rapidly over the past few decades. In the 4 tiger farming countries alone, there are approximately 7,000 to 8,000 captive tigers in large tiger farms, zoos, and smaller facilities that keep or breed tigers. The wild tiger population has declined by over 95% over the past 100 years. 2016 has also marked a significant upsurge in tiger poaching and trade, where in India more tigers were killed in the first 5 months of 2016 than the whole of 2015. The tiger range countries where tiger populations are beginning to show signs of recovery have high levels of political commitment, strong laws and enforcement, and no tiger farms. Where tiger farms are present, they only serve as an obstacle to recovery. In recent years, China and Thailand have both delivered important new tiger conservation efforts on the ground. Despite this investment, the effects of tiger farms limit the potential gains from such work, as well as damaging those countries' reputation in the area of species conservation. We commend the recent bold enforcement efforts of Thailand's Department of National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation, DNP, which in June of 2016 seized 137 live tigers, thousands of tiger skin amulets, 7 preserved cubs, and other tiger parts from the Tiger Temple in Kanchanaburi province. The DNP has announced that it will investigate other captive tiger facilities implicated in tiger trade. This represents a significant opportunity for Thailand to end all tiger farming within its borders and to play a leadership role in the phase-out of tiger farms in the region. Other countries should also take action to ensure they are not implicated in the trade in captive tiger parts and products. For example, there appears to be a growing trade in tigers and their parts and products from South Africa. The United States also has a large number of captive tigers, which may also become vulnerable to exploitation for illegal trade. The world needs to wake up to the alarm bells ringing across the tiger's range. It is clear that tiger farming and trade in captive tiger parts have done nothing to end the pressure on and trade in wild tigers. In September this year, world governments will come together in South Africa to participate in the 17th Conference of the Parties to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, CITES. The CITES conference offers a significant opportunity for governments to adopt and call for urgent implementation of concrete measures to phase out tiger farms. If wild tiger populations are to be recovered and secured, the international community must provide support to end tiger farming and all trade in tiger parts and products from the wild and captive tigers. We, the undersigned, include those with technical expertise in managing captive tigers, stand ready to provide assistance to achieve the goals of zero demand for tiger parts and products and zero poaching of tigers. And then it names off all of the organizations, which included Big Cat Rescue. And I'm not going to read all of, well, I am going to read those. Esther Conway, manager of 21st Century Tiger. Bihab Kumar Talakar, PhD, Secretary General and CEO of Aranyak. Toby Zhang, Executive Secretary General of EIA Foundation. Joe Cook, Alta Coordinator of Moor Leopard and Tiger Alliance. Jill Robinson, MBE, Doctor of Medical Veterinary and CEO at Animals Asia Foundation. Susan Millward, Executive Director, Animal Welfare Institute. Risha Kata Larson, President, Animaticus. Chris Vers, Interim President and CEO of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. R.S. Chundawat, President, Bhavan Bag Uvan. Carole Baskin, CEO and founder of Big Cat Rescue. Will Travers, OBE, President and CEO of the Born Free Foundation. Adam Roberts, CEO of the Born Free USA. Sybil Foxcroft, Director of C4Life. Sally Case, CEO, David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation. Dung Nguyen, Vice Director, Education for Nature, Vietnam. Phen Yong Phen, Founder and CEO of Environmental Activist Fund. Debbie Banks, Campaign Leader, Tiger and Wildlife Crime, Environmental Investigation Agency. Iona Dungler, Director of Wild Animals at Four Paws International. Sulma Warne, Deputy Director, Freeland Foundation. Teresa M. Telegi, PhD, Director, Wildlife Department, Humane Society International. Nicole Paquette, Vice President, Wildlife Humane Society of the United States. Grace Gabriel, Asia Regional Director, International Fund for Animal Welfare. Kumi Tugwa, President, Japan Tiger and Elephant Fund. Nishikant Kale, President of the Nature Conservation Society. Christopher Schmidt, PhD, Chair of the Board Pro Wildlife. Sergei Baranuk, Director of the Phoenix Fund, Adam Grogan, Head of Wildlife at the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, Batu Segal, editor of Sanctuary Asia, Simone Clinton, founder and CEO of Save Wild Tigers, Kedar Gore, director of the Corbett Foundation, Brian K. Weiram, chairman of the Fund for the Tiger, Phil Davis, founder of Tiger Awareness, Vicki Flynn, manager of Tiger Time Campaign, Julia Matthews, chairman of TOF Tigers, Prasanna Janssen, CEO, Wildlife Conservation Nepal, Edwin Week, founder and director of Wildlife Friends Foundation, Thailand, Belinda Wright, OBE, executive director, Wildlife Protection Society of India, Biswait Mohanty, PhD and secretary of Wildlife Society of Orissa, Kartik Satiharayan, co-founder and chairman of Wildlife SOS, MD Anwarul Islam, CEO of Wild Team, Jack Kenross, coordinator, Wild Tiger Conservation Research and Development, Georgina Allen, director of Wild Welfare, Liana Albee, interim global director of programs at World Animal Protection, Michael Balsar, leader of the World Wildlife Tigers Alive Initiative, and Jonathan Belial, director of conservation programs, Zoological Society of London. If you enjoyed these video blogs of my diary, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.